Have you ever felt like life left you behind? At 30, I was bankrupt, homeless, without support, and with self-esteem buried under accumulated judgments and failures. Nothing made sense, only the emptiness of not knowing where to start over. And if I tell you that it was on this bottom of the well that I found the map to make 1 million in just 365 days? Does it seem crazy? I understand. But that's exactly where the secret that no one wants to tell you lives. Success is not a secret formula stored by 7 keys by the rich. It is a lifestyle, a set of conscious decisions, behaviors, and actions. The good news? No matter your age, your bank account, or your diploma, if you follow the same steps I followed, you can build your own financial and personal turn. I'm not talking about magic, I'm talking about methane, self-responsibility, and a real plan. This video is an invitation for you to rewrite your trajectory. And no, you don't need luck or a mysterious investor. You only need courage to change your mindset, clarity of identity, and discipline to live a new purpose. Get ready to know the 5 steps that turned a broken and lost guy into a millionaire entrepreneur with purpose. But I'm already warning, they don't want you to know that. Because when you understand what really builds prosperity, it will stop depending on crumbs. It will leave the automatic. It will break free from the idea that wealth is the privilege of few. And you will realize what real success starts inside and explodes out with impact and real value. If you have gotten here, it is because something within you is already asking for this transformation. So take a deep breath, hold this attention to the end, and write down each point. Because what comes next may be the beginning of your first million and your best version. The first key to earning 1 million in 365 days is not about spreadsheets, investments, or magic formulas. It has to do with something much deeper and more powerful to take full control over your life. As long as you blame the government, difficult childhood, or former partner, you will remain stopped. The self-responsibility is when you say, if it's bad, I created it. If it's going to get better, it's me who's going to change. It changes everything. When I understood that no one would save me, something inside me awakened. I stopped waiting for the right time and started building my own successful ecosystem. And look, it wasn't comfortable, but it was liberating. I stopped looking out and began to observe my own behaviors. That's when I found that the biggest block between me and prosperity was myself. There is no prosperity without conscience. And there is no conscience without courage. Courage to look in the mirror and say, this mediocre result is a reflection of my decisions. It is hard, but necessary. When you understand this, you move more strongly, more clearly, and more. Your mindset begins to change because you leave the victim story and assume the role of author. Success does not start in revenues, begins in the mindset. That's why there are people who earn well, but it is still poor. Because it did not change the base, it did not change the belief system, it did not redefine its identity. Money likes responsibility. And prosperity is a direct consequence of your ability to decide and act with consistency. This is emotional intelligence in action. Want a practical tip? Take paper and pen tonight and write where your life is locked. Then, next to each point, write what you did or stopped doing to be there. No excuses. No flowers. Just the truth. This simple exercise will start to move its structure. And believe me, it is from this discomfort that the real transformation is born. If you want to do 1 million in 1 year, you need to understand that revenue is effect and behavior is cause. The action plan only works when it comes from the internal decision to change. It is no use copying strategies if you continue with sabotaging habits. It all starts with self-responsibility. And when it settles down, the next step reveals itself hard. You won't get anywhere if you don't even know who you are or who you want to be. Identity is not a birth label, it is a conscious choice. It's time to clearly decide who you are choosing to be from today. And I'm not talking about a profession, but about lifestyle, values, purpose, and behavior. Write, in detail, how this new version of yours lives, acts, thinks, and feels. If you want to thrive, you need to embody this identity with truth. Imagine a person who earns 1 million a year. How does she wake up? What does she read? Who does she talk to? Which places does it go? Your routine reveals your identity, and your identity shapes your reality. If today your schedule still looks like that of someone stagnant, something needs to change. Do not expect the financial change to behave like someone prosperous. The transformation begins before the result. It is like training the muscle before lifting the weight. Create the habit of saying it doesn't match who I'm becoming whenever something tries to pull you back. This filter will save you from distractions, toxic environments, and inconsistent decisions with your plan. Include in your new identity spirituality, consistency, and presence. Those who live on purpose do not act on impulse. Reflect: what kind of content does this new version consume? What habits does it hold, even when no one is seeing? Your identity must be strong enough to stay firm in the face of the temptation to return to the old you. This is high performance in practice. If you want a concrete tip, write 30 lines now describing who you decide to be. Start like this from today: I am the kind of person who, and detail their routine, their behavior, their thoughts. Clear this version clearly. It will be your north when doubts and challenges appear. And yes, they will appear. Identity is more than self-knowledge. It is self-definition. And who does not define is defined by others. Choose being intentional with your story. You have full freedom to start over no matter what you have lived here. Building your first million begins with a simple question: who do you decide to be from now on? If you really want to earn 1 million, you need a profound change in the way of thinking, feeling, and acting. This is not a cheap positive thinking, but about changing the mentality of scarcity for a mindset of abundance and purpose. A lot of people live sabotage because they grew up listening to what success is for others. And in the meantime, he continues to walk in circles, waiting for a miracle. The first thing that changes in methane is the environment. Right places create certain behaviors. When you go to high-performance environments, your ruler goes up naturally. You start thinking differently, talking differently, dreaming louder. And the opposite is also real: the wrong place undermines your energy, limits your vision, and sabots your plans. Environment is not detail, it is base. The second essential element is people. Have you noticed how certain conversations lift you and others drain you? This is no coincidence, it is science. The book The Power of Connections shows how our brain mirrors the behavior of those around. That is, if you live with people who complain, spend badly, and live in stagnation, guess what? You will be swallowed by this pattern. So select well with who you walk. The third point is the right knowledge. Information is not power, applied knowledge is. You need to stop consuming random content and start seeking strategic learning. Swap hours on networks for immersions, mentoring, and courses that actually bring you closer to your goal. What you know today brought you here. But that's what still doesn't know it will take you to the next level. Want a practical exercise? Take a sheet and divide it into 2 columns. On one side, write which people and places you need to get away. On the other, list which environments and connections you need to approach. This may hurt, but it can also save your action plan. Its methane is not just about thinking, but on positioning. It's time to move. This change of mindset does not happen overnight. But it starts the moment you decide to surround yourself with stimuli that drive you, and don't lock you. Prosperity requires new vision, new habits, and a new way of positioning itself in the world. And when you really live this methane, the next step becomes inevitable: to act with full intention. If you want to earn 1 million, you need to learn to protect your attention as a precious asset. Seriously, you have no idea how much you are losing by spending hours on useless content. Social networks are great, but only if used with conscience. Set a limit, a maximum of 40 minutes per day for entertainment. The rest of the time, aimed at their personal development and action plan. Such digital obesity is killing the performance of an entire generation. Bright people stuck in short videos, empty debates and comparisons that only generate frustration. Worse, thinking you are learning something. You don't need more information, you need direction. And this direction comes only when you create mental space to think clearly. Deterate. Want to turn the key? Participate in congresses, immersions, and growth ecosystems. These environments are true mindset accelerators. It's not about networking by status, it's about putting yourself moving with people who are also growing. You don't have to know everything. But it needs to be where the right knowledge is being changed. Stop thinking small. 1 million is not for a few, it is for those who have clarity, mass action, and emotional intelligence to stay firm. And that only happens when you choose every day to be in the right places, with the right people, absorbing the right content. Remember, your agenda reveals your future. If what you do today doesn't bring you closer to what you want, something needs to change. And you know what else? The fastest growing people are those who put the ego aside and allow themselves to learn from scratch as many times as needed. They do not expect to be ready, they put themselves in motion. And every step they take turns fuel to the next. This is how high performance is built, with consistency and real impact. You don't need luck, you need strategy. You don't need a miracle, you need movement. Your revenue will be directly proportional to your level of self-responsibility, clarity of identity, and quality of your connections. Success is a lifestyle, and yours begins now. As long as you are willing to act differently from today. Now it tells me, what are you going to do with all that you just heard? Will you close this video and follow life as if nothing had happened, or will it take the first step towards your turn? The decision is all yours. But remember, nothing changes if you don't change. And the time you have, guess what? It's the same as millionaires have. The difference is how you choose to use every minute. Doing 1 million in 365 days is not about magic, it is about mindset, behavior, and strategy. It is about leaving the role of spectator and taking the role of protagonist. And yes, you will be afraid, doubts, and you will want to give up a few times. But if you keep the focus on purpose, surrounded by the right people, in the right places, with the right knowledge, the impossible begins to lose strength. So I ask you, who do you choose to be from now on? What identity are you going to wear tomorrow morning? Will you continue carrying the old beliefs, or will you decide to write a new story with courage, presence, and action? The life you want is waiting for you. But it requires a version of you that may not have one yet. And this version needs to be born now. If this content made sense to you, it doesn't keep it just for you. Subscribe to the channel right now and activates the notifications. Here, we go far beyond motivation, we talk about transformation with purpose. Because while they try to keep you on autopilot, we are here to show you the path of real prosperity. Come with us. Your future thanks you.